Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. This is Scott Ferguson, and I am super stoked to bring you my good friend from north of the border, Marc Mawhinney. Marc is somebody that I immensely respect. It's kind of a bucket list interview for me here. And we had a fun conversation. It's about 30 minutes long. And if you're a coach, consultant, realtor, business owner, anybody really to look to level up your business, please listen to this. Break out your notebooks because Marc leaves some serious knowledge nuggets and breadcrumbs behind for you to take to really level up your life, your business, your family, and whatnot. So again, sit back, relax, break out your notebook, share it with somebody if you like what you hear, or at least hit like and subscribe because it really helps my sponsors and affiliates. So without further ado, here's my really good friend, Marc Mawhinney. Let's level up. Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. This is Scott Ferguson, and I have a bucket list interview right now, someone that I immensely respect in the coaching world and just as an absolute stellar human being, Marc Mawhinney. He is a lifelong entrepreneur who helps coaches get more clients without a lot of paid, if any, paid advertising. He achieves this with his coaching programs, his podcast, Natural Born Coaches, which, by the way, I'm a top 2% podcast. I'm interviewing a top 1% podcast. So again, this is kind of bucket list moment for me. I've been wanting to get Marc on for a long time. You have to check out his Facebook group, the Coaching Jungle, and his Secret Coach Club. He's been a speaker at events like Social Media Marketing World, frequently makes media appearances and contributes for entrepreneur.com. That's baller. You can learn more about Marc at naturalborncoaches.com, but don't go there now because he's going to drop some serious knowledge nuggets, especially if you're out there. If you are a coach, which I know a lot of you guys listening, thank you so much. Marc's going to drop some awesome info and knowledge nuggets. And Marc, thank you so much for coming on. Please introduce yourself to the Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. But first, what's your favorite color and why?
It's blue. Which I see just might be yours too from the background. I'm a long-suffering fan of the Toronto Maple Leafs being Canadian, and I'm a huge Toronto Blue Jays fan. I'm really a baseball guy. Everyone
Joe Carter, baby. Yeah.
1993, one of my favorite moments. Yeah, poor Mitch Williams.
Yeah, so I'm a huge.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm a big Blue Jays, Maple Leafs fan and stuff like that. And I'm also, not to get political, conservative guy in our party here in Canada. We're opposite of you guys in the U.S.
Really?
Our conservative party, blue is their color. Our liberals are red. And of course, in the States, it's flipped where the Democrats are blue and the Republicans
I did not
are
know
red.
that.
I'm blue in Canada. I guess I'd be red if I were living in the States.
Teachable moment for me right there. That's awesome.
Yeah, there you go.
So Marc, I listen to your podcast. I really don't ever miss an episode. And also I know what you do to help coaches level up. But is there, and I know like years ago, this is probably 10 or 11 years ago, we were conversing on Facebook regarding real estate and whatnot, right? But what's your roots, brother, to get to the point now where coaches turn to you really to level them up?
Yeah, so I mean, the Cliff's Notes version, I've been in the coaching world since 2014. So I'm coming up to 10 years in March of 24. And my background, is in real estate. So I spent right out of university a decade doing the whole thing, selling real estate, being a manager, broker, opening my own company. Everything was hockey stick growth, to use a Canadian analogy, until it wasn't. Everything collapsed, I guess, at almost 15 years ago. And that's how I got into coaching. I was helped back to my feet by a few coaches and mentors. And because I was in a bad spot, as anyone going through a business closure, it's not the most fun thing to do. And I'm very grateful. I wouldn't be talking with you here today had I not gone through that. And I'm very grateful that I connected with coaches, got to see have a front row seat to what coaching could do. And we're a decade in the coaching world. I'm loving it.
You're killing it. You know, what's great is like when you're in real estate, me being a real estate broker since 1999, right? And I still practice. I'm blessed to have a great team here. But it's like when you're in a real estate broker, you're not only a broker, but you're like a marriage counselor. You're a babysitter for their kids. Yes. While they're looking at a house, you babysit, entertain their kids. So it's like parlayed perfectly into coaching, right?
Yeah, I find there's a lot of similarities when I'm coaching coaches versus coaching my agents was in real estate. And I will sometimes catch myself saying agents instead of coaches for whatever. but at the end of the day, coaches are really entrepreneurs like real estate agents are, we'll say. Right. And you have to have boundaries. You have to respect your time. You have to be able to pre-qualify people. You have to justify your worth, negotiate, all these other things. So surprisingly, there's a lot of crossover between real estate and coaching.
Absolutely. So what then, because you come across thousands of coaches within your business, but what if you had to break it down, Marc? I've always wanted to ask you this. what do you feel makes a great coach?
Well, going back to what I just mentioned, it's you're an entrepreneur and recognizing that you're an entrepreneur, which a lot of coaches struggle with. They think, okay, well, I'll learn the art of coaching, get certified, slap up a website, and then bang, people will rush through. And I've always said that, unfortunately, if I had to put my money on one or two coaches succeeding, would it be the brilliant marketer that was an average coach, or the brilliant coach who's a meh marketer? Well, it's going to go with the marketer first, because they're going to
Yes,
actually get people through the door to
absolutely.
coach. And you
Right,
can be the best coach in the world, but if you don't have clients to show what you can do, you're
right.
not going to be in business long. So that's something I work towards every day, because so many coaches come from backgrounds where they've never sold before, never run a business. Maybe they come from HR, they were a teacher, they were
Yeah,
something where they didn't have to sell their, I say sell themselves, I don't mean prostitution, but real
yeah.
estate, it's like if you don't sell, you don't eat. And I'm grateful that I had a decade of being in that kind of commission style and
Thank
then
you for
going into
saying that.
the brokerage. Yeah, because it's given a lot of skills that have helped now.
Coaching like real estate, and you can attest this, we woke up every day unemployed. We had to find
Yep.
someone to interview us to sell them a house, to rent them a house, to sell their house, right? And the coaches are the same way. And a lot of people got into the real estate business. I'm licensed, man, because it's such an easy entry
Yep.
into coaching and real estate. You pass the test. Coaching, you don't even have to really pass the test, right? But then they have to hunt, and they don't know how to do that. And that's why a lot of the attrition rate is probably pretty low. And I've heard
Well,
you say that a couple times on your show. So yeah.
well, here's something you wouldn't think of, but I've seen it firsthand this week. Is I've had a lot of calls booked this week with, because I'm doing a new training, and a lot of people watch. It's a mini automated training, so a lot of people booked a call because I was a call to action at the end of it. I
Mm-hmm.
had two no shows this week with it, which happens. I mean, that's
Sure.
like, but these are people, when I check, because I'll always check them out before the call and stuff, you wouldn't expect it. One of them
Mm.
was in business for decades, and I was looking at his background, his LinkedIn, everything else, and he was a no show yesterday, which
Yeah.
is fine. It's kind of frustrating, but I feel like if you can't manage your calendar and show up for calls that you booked with me or with anyone,
Never gonna.
then you're
Yeah.
not going to be in business very long. And it was the same thing with real estate. I'm shocked I didn't get more speeding tickets, because I was racing all over God's green earth to get to showings one end of town and driving an hour the other way and
Right.
trying to get there, because I was always paranoid. Oh my God, if I don't get there, they buy a house from someone else, or they
Right.
list a house with someone else. And there was just a professionalism that was instilled, and that carried over with coaching. I would say now, I don't know if the 80-20 rule is applicable, but maybe even close, that 80% of coaches are entrepreneurs, or just kind of playing around with it. It's a hobby type thing. And then you got 20 that take it serious, that show up when they're supposed to, do what they're supposed to do. They're the ones that are going to succeed. There are a lot of them that are just playing at it, unfortunately.
Just like in real estate brokers and stuff,
Yep.
they're
Almost
one-offs and
identical.
bottom feeders, we like to call them, and whatnot. So do you coach coaches one-on-one, or are you more group, Mark?
I've done both, and they have their advantages. I enjoy one-on-one, got some great clients. One-on-one now it's not a quantity number for me. I've continually increased my fees so much that they're high enough that I'm working with a handful of serious ones. And then I've
Right.
got the group coaching, which is interesting because it's a different type of energy, right? When you've got 4, 5, 6 people on a call and they're learning from each other and stuff, there's
That's
some
awesome.
interesting insights that come from that as well. So yeah, I do both. I've got a membership subscription type office. I do joint ventures with partners. I do a number of things there, but it's all in the coaching world.
Love it. And a lot of because you've earned the right to charge your fees for your one-on-ones, these people are coming in, they do have success behind them. If not, they probably could not afford you. What do you find maybe in the discovery period with them is their biggest blind spot?
I find a lot of people uh, discount themselves. There's a imposter syndrome. So for
Thank you.
example, they may have been in business for 20, 30 years in another field, but they assume that they're coming into coaching as a brand new rookie or whatever, and they're not giving value to the knowledge that's in their noggin, right? And I try to tell them, hey, look, you've got 30 years in your head there. Like, you're not just rolling out of bed this morning and a babe in the woods with nothing
Yeah.
to offer. And there's something to be said for that. So I always stress to coaches that you want to bring the experiences and the talents and skills that you build up to this point into your coaching role now. And one of my coaches who was chatting with me, she's looking at doing a group program of mine, has been a doctor for a couple decades. And she was asking a similar question. Well, am I the right person for this? And she's looking at doing relationship type coaching. I'm like, you're the perfect person to be doing for it, because you've had to do that, not as a coach, but you really have done a lot of those same things for years anyways. So don't discount yourself, blow your own horn, so to speak. No one else will blow it for you. You can't be shy when it comes to that either.
And I love that you said that. I mean, because like you're a lot of people will tell, but they don't act. Like they'll tell you how much they're, but I think that the more if you tell and you take action, that more people will tell your story for you. You've got to get out there and rock that. So when you're talking to coaches, because maybe we're still in the discovery period here, Mark, when you're starting to see if you're the right horse for the course for them, right? Is there any good question that you wish they would ask you but never do?
What's your PayPal, Mark? How can I pay you?
Dude, that is the best answer, because it's a canned question I ask coaches all the time. Okay. And I wanted to get yours. How do I pay you? Right. That is freaking awesome.
Well, I say that kind of tongue in cheek, but I think there's some truth to it. Now, you don't see it now because it's a secret Coach Club poster behind me now, but for a long time I had a picture of money back there, and it was actually your American $100 bills, not our Canadian, because we have funny money that's all different colors. We have toonies and loonies, and it's not exactly cool looking.
Yeah, the Benny back there, I remember.
It was the Benjamins, and I did have someone say to me, "Oh, gee, do you want to have that on there, Mark? Because you don't want to look greedy and all this other stuff." And I had it there and kept it there for a long time for a reason, is that I want to stress to coaches that it's okay to admit that you like money and you want to be paid. Because there's so many people in the coaching world, you've seen them all, Scott, that are just full of it, where they try to pretend that they don't care about money. Like, oh, no, I don't care, whatever. I want to impact 1 billion people in the world, but I could care less about money or whatever. And often it's the people who say they don't care about money that are the wolves in sheep's clothing. So I'm very open with it. Hey, yes, I'm in business. I like to be paid. I like to make a profit, and I can't stay in business if not. And I try to get that over to my clients as well, the coaches I'm working with, that they should be comfortable with it too and not feel weird. Because how many coaches do amazing on discovery calls? For the 90% of the call, they're awesome or whatever. But then when it transitions into making the offer, telling how they can work together, it gets all weird, and there's a change there or whatever, and then they lose the client with it. And I don't want them to feel like that. So I think we should be very open and admit that, we're in business. We want to make money.
Right. And I love that. And I love that a lot of are you a follower of like Chandler and Litvin's a little bit? Steve
I've had Steve. Well, I've had both on my podcast actually, and I've joint ventured with Steve Chandler, and I've got the Prosperous Coach back there in my bookshelf too.
Right, and absolutely, and it feels like I'm talking to Steve again, or even Rich, right? With how you're talking about it. It's okay, like money, because money obviously gives you choices in life and stuff like that. And you can't make those choices, like you said, without making money. And it's okay. That's because a lot of people that I've seen, and I was mentored by some really awesome people up in the Michigan area regarding money, because I grew up lack mentality. Dad worked on the line at General Motors in the Motor City. Love my dad as my best friend, but there was never that being okay with money. It's like money was evil and kind of this. And like I got pulled out of that by some awesome Jewish people. And that's not a stereotype, but they just happen to be Jewish. And they really taught me the value that it's okay. I love that, Mark. I love it, man. So have you seen the movie Back to the Future?
Oh yeah, I love them.
All right.
All of them.
Yeah, let's get in that DeLorean with Marty McFly. Let's go back to the Double Deuce, the 22-year-old Mark. What kind of knowledge nuggets might you drop on him? Not so much to change anything, Mark, because your journey is pretty awesome. You have an awesome child. You're very successful, but maybe to shorten the learning curve and maybe blast through just a little bit quicker.
Yeah, so that's pretty close to when I got started in real estate, because I was 21 getting started in real estate. So early 20s, Mark. I think the big thing I would tell them is back then I was a real people pleaser. Being in real estate, you want to get along with other agents that you're doing deals with, of course, the clients and the inspectors, appraisers, water testers, everything. And I remember that an agent in my office once, or in my first few years of business, I'd done quite a few deals. I worked hard and got my business rolling quite quickly. And he said, Mark, he said, I've never heard a bad thing about you, which I took as a compliment at the time. Looking back now, playing Monday morning quarterback, I don't view it as a positive thing. You might be saying, well, gee, it's a good thing, isn't it?
Right.
Doing that many deals, that many transactions and stuff, I should have some people pissed off at me. I should have other agents. Oh, he was a real dink to negotiate with.
Sure.
And my client ended up paying my buyer $5,000 more because he was so hard headed with it,
right,
and stuff like that. It's not good to be too much of a people pleaser in real estate, or I'd even say with coaching now. So that's what I would probably tell Mark, is don't be afraid to break a few more eggs to make omelets back then. And luckily over the years, I changed my thinking with it. And now I have a lot of people who don't like me. So that's good.
Yeah. I mean,
a good thing.
I get that. I'm boisterous. I'm not.
Well, your energy, I'm a little bit more laid back. I'm the
Right.
one with Red Bull here, but I'm like, man, I need something different. Yeah, love your energy and stuff. It's
Right.
not really my style, or I'm not
Right.
like a Brendan Bouchard. Brendan Bouchard's like a hyena on Red Bull bouncing
Right.
around. If
Yeah.
I showed up like that, people would say, "What the heck, Mark?"
Right. Yeah. You're not the
Yeah.
authentic, right? I mean, I'm the 6'1", 240-pound guy that will hug you. Like, I'm from the Midwest. You're from Canada.
Yeah.
It's what we do. And I'm called my nickname when I speak is the boomer. Like, I'm loud,
Yeah.
right? And it's fine with me because I own that. So, Mark, how do you want your dash remembered? That little line in between your incarnation date and your expiration date, your life date and death date. Hope it's way down the road, brother. But how does Mark want his dash remembered?
Oh, how do I want to be remembered? I don't think I'll have this on my tombstone, but it's something that I think would be the story with my life, with business, everything else, especially over the last 15, 20 years, is I haven't given up. And I try to impart that on my son. He just turned 15 recently, and that it's cliche, but it doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down, as long as you get up, fall 7 times, get up 8, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I just didn't give up, because so many people, they go through a business closure, they lose a job, they declare bankruptcy, they get a divorce or whatever, and then that's it. And they think that it's final. And I'm actually reading a good book at the moment around this whole topic. It's called Black Box Thinking. So as in black boxes in airplanes.
Mm-hmm.
Matthew Syed wrote it. And that whole book is around learning from your failures, not viewing them necessarily as a failure. So if you look at the aviation industry, the reason that it's so safe and that there's such a minuscule percentage of accidents is that the aviation industry got really good when there's a plane crash, retrieving the black box, see what happened, what pilot errors, was it something to do with the mechanics, whatever, let's fix it so it doesn't happen again. And then the book compares it to the medical industry, which has not a great record when it comes to misdiagnosis, people dying in surgeries, stuff like that, because doctors are not bashing doctors. I think doctors, nurses, stuff are great, but they're human, and they're afraid to admit error, and they're afraid to learn from their mistakes. The nurse that noticed a doctor that's been at it for 40 years and has this prestige and stuff, they see him making a mistake, they're not going to call him out on it necessarily, because, oh, well, he's the master here, I'm just the nurse.
Right.
And that's the wrong way of thinking. So that's a long answer, but I think that's what I'd say. He didn't give up, he kept going. Robin Sharma says KMF, keep moving forward.
Yeah, keep moving forward.
I'm a big believer.
Love it. Like, you're going to slide across home plate, bumped and bruised, but knowing that you served a lot of people, man, that's awesome.
Well, there's a lot of people that go through life and they don't get, if you don't get nicked up, it means that you just didn't try to do anything.
Live.
Like you just, that you played it way too safe. Are you going to be happier? Odds are you're going to have a lot of regrets by the time you're ready to check out.
Yeah. Very, very true. So what do you think people then misunderstand the most about Mark?
Misunderstand, hopefully not a whole lot. I try to be plain spoken,
pretty transparent,
no fluff and no BS. That's what I hate about the coaching industry, is that it's so much of it's boilerplate. You've got one hand million boss bitch babes that are saying all the same thing. It's I think there's a factory cloning them out. Not to excuse the guys, because then you get the douchepreneurs, the bro marketers with the private jet pictures and the fancy cars and kind of the Ferrari in the garage, or Lamborghini, and with the bookcase in the garage, Tai Lopez types. So I just see all that stuff and it's just like, oh man, I was tired of it 10 years ago when I got into this. Now we're into 2023, 2024, and it's just I hate that type stuff. And so I try to do things differently and be more myself. I know it's cliche to say authentic, but just put it out
You
there.
are
If
though.
someone doesn't, yeah, someone doesn't resonate with you, that's fine. I'm not everyone's cup of tea. I've been doing daily emails now for years, and I try to write like I talk in normal life.
Yeah.
I've had subscribers sometimes reply to the email I send out. And one in particular was a little more woo-woo. And she said, Mark, I love your emails. I enjoy reading them every day, but you said crap in your email yesterday, and that doesn't vibrate with my whatever energy plane, blah, blah, blah. Can you clean it up or whatever? And I just say, hey, look, if you want to unsubscribe, no harm, no feelings. But yeah, I'm not changing
Living
how I write.
true.
Yeah, there's enough boring emails from coaches, from entrepreneurs. I like to keep it interesting.
And I love it because you're so like you've grown something that you're passionate about to the point where if you go to Chat GPT and you say, write me a post in the tone of Marc Mawhinney from Natural Born Coaches, you should try it sometime, dude. It's actually really cool. So
how is it with Canadian accents?
Because
when I go to I go to rev.com and I'll put something because I do stuff with transcripts, and then I'm spending more time cleaning it up because it's really bad I have secret coach clubs, my membership site, and it'll put seeker coach club. And I'm like, geez, is a Canadian accent that bad? But yeah, I'll have to try that sometime with Chat GPT.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I live on AI now, and I'm really bought into that. Absolutely love it. So then what is Mark's definition of a life well lived?
Well, this could be definition of success as well, because I'll ask people a lot of times, like, how do you define success? And the best answer I've ever read was from Bob Dylan. And he basically said that success is getting up in the morning, going to bed at night, and doing what you wanted to in between, which I thought was a great definition. That could be a life well lived as well. You're not worrying about what other people think, doing it to impress other people or because of expectations. Life is just so short. And I've really changed. You and I were chatting beforehand. I turned 45 this summer that just passed. And I like to say it's middle age. If I'm looking at actual stats and numbers of how North American males, how long they live, it's actually over.
We're there.
I'm more there. It's not exactly middle age. I'd love to live till 90. But so I've thought a lot about time because like my father passed away this past March too. So death of a parent, you start thinking of a lot of that, right? Mortality. You're in your 20s. You think you're invincible, you're going to live forever. 30s may cross your mind a little bit more. You're in your 40s and 50s, you start to value time a lot more as well.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that I'd take Bob Dylan's success definition and apply it to a life well lived as well.
Yeah, man. And like you, I do what I love to do in the service of people that love what I do. But I'm saying I love what I do, and people notice that. And I like to say I live a life of options and not obligations. That is my definition of success, period.
Well, you're in Florida. Everyone's happy in Florida.
True.
You can't not live a good life if you're in Florida.
Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. We are back. And Mark, you and I are going to meet up eventually when you get down here during the cold months, and we'll talk about some of these questions, 10, 15, 20 minutes, maybe over a brain grenade or two, right? But today you got 5 seconds to answer them with no explanations, none at all, and they can all be done that way. You ready to level up?
Cool, let's do it.
All right. Mark, what is the best leveling up advice you've ever received?
Keep moving forward.
Love it. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
Journaling.
Excellent. And other than your website, are there any other website is kind of a go-to website for you to level up?
I know we said 5 seconds. Go to Ben Settle's website.
Oh yeah, Ben. Awesome.
Yeah, there we go. A shout out for Ben.
Ben Settle. What is it called? Bone? What the hell is it? Bono or something? I love it. Anyway, so you see me walking down the street or maybe at an event, you're like, man, Fergie looks like he's in his doldrums a little bit. What book might you hand me to level me up?
Oh man, so many good ones. A Thick Face Black Heart by Chin-Ning Chu.
Yes, sir. Your most commonly used emoji when you text?
Oh, I'm not an emoji guy, but I'm a thumbs up.
Love it. Nicknames growing up?
Marco was one. Yeah.
Love it. Chess, checkers, or Monopoly?
Chess.
Oh, wow. Headline for your life?
Keep moving forward. The theme of today.
Secret, hidden talent, or superpower that you have that nobody knows about until now?
Oh, I know some magic and card tricks.
Very cool. Very cool. Any superstitions?
No, I'm not a
Me
superstitious
neither,
guy.
man. Go-to ice cream flavor.
Birthday cake.
Oh, good stuff. There's a sandwich called the Marco. Build that sandwich for me. What's on it?
Well, there's extra crispy bacon, which I love.
Man candy. Gotta have it.
Yeah, it's like 80% bacon. It's a BLT, we'll say, but it's got like 80% bacon, and it's as dark as your shirt. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Just bacon? Those slices of tomato and
a little bit of lettuce and tomato just so it doesn't look weird. But yeah, it's a bacon sandwich.
Love it, man. So favorite charity and or organization you like to give your time or money to?
Yeah, well, the Canadian Cancer Society, both
Nice.
my parents, before my father passed away from something else, but both my parents beat cancer. So that's one that hits close to home.
Love it, man. And last question, we can elaborate on this one a little bit. What's the best decade of music? 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
They all have their pluses other than the most recent decades, I'll say. So I will say I'm an oldies guy. I really like Elvis, Buddy Holly, Beach Boys, all that stuff. The Beatles early stuff before they got all hippie.
The Meet the Beatles, yeah.
So that would put like 60s, you could say.
Yeah.
Not a 70s guy because I wouldn't have been going to, well, Woodstock was late 60s, but I wouldn't have been in the whole 70s scene. 80s is cheesy, but I was born in 78, so that was kind of like what
That's
I
when
started.
You grew up, yeah.
Rock 86, that album, we built the City Stars and all that other stuff. The 90s, I was in high school and university, so I like a lot of the 90s stuff too. So I'd have to say oldies, like the 60s, but I have a soft spot for the 90s just because that's when I was going from a child to an adult, I guess, was a transition there.
No, yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, I love all the decades except for the recent stuff because the recent stuff's using hooks from all of our decades.
Like, sorry, Taylor Swift, I don't get the whole Swifty thing or whatever. Like, yeah, okay, let's write a song about breakups and all auto tune and all this other stuff. K-pop, I hate new music. I'm not into.
Yeah,
it's not my thing at all. So I listen to older stuff, but my phone has a healthy dose from each decade up until probably the 2000s, and then that's when it starts after that going down. And I have very little after 2010 in there.
Yeah, I'm the same way. You listen to, I respect Pitbull because I got to meet him before, the rapper guy, and he's got a hell of a story. But like 3 of his songs use hooks from like Aha's "Take on Me." If you listen to one of his songs, that's the hook. They're using the hook from stuff from the 80s because so much happened from the invasions from Australia with Men at Work and U2 over in Ireland and to Big Hair Don't Care, glam rock. It was just, I'm an 80s guy if I look at it, but the 60s are awesome. I'm a huge Frankie Valli fan. Huge. I got to meet him like 6 or 7 times.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Yeah, I love Frankie Valli stuff. Yeah. Pitbull, I think I have international love on there, and that's about it.
Yeah.
I'm not, not
awesome,
a huge Pitbull guy.
So how can we find you, Mark?
Well, you go north. We're next to Maine in the province of New Brunswick. No, best spot's got naturalborncoaches.com. And you mentioned the Facebook group. We always love to have great people in there. That's at thecoachingjungle.com, thecoachingjungle.com.
The Coaching Jungle. Yeah, that's awesome. And then you are also giving away an issue of the Natural Born Coaches newsletter, correct?
Yeah, well, Secret Coach Club is what it's called.
Yeah,
no problem. So currently at the moment, if you go to naturalborncoaches.com, you'll see the opt-in, the pop-up, and it's the April 2023 issue of Secret Coach Club. And in it, I outline 3 questions that coaches have to answer if they want to be successful. And then I dive into each of those. So it'll give people a taste if they're interested in Secret Coach Club, but they'll get enough from that issue that they can take and put into action right away.
Love it. And it's a very good investment for anybody that's out there. And for a lucky listener, I myself, that puts in, let's see what we can put in here. We can put it, just put in Natural Born Coaches. I don't care if it's Pinterest, you text it to me. Time to Shine Today will pay for a year's subscription to the Secret Coach Club for you. So put that in there and make sure that you let us know, and I'll have that for the lucky listener for Mark there. And you're going to have to please be a coach or a consultant or somebody that's out there really helping people level up. And
I appreciate that.
You're very welcome, man. It's more than a pleasure. So, Mark, do me one last solid and leave us with one last knowledge nugget we can take with us, internalize, and take action on.
Well, I'm reading a new book. It was just released yesterday. It's around Fox News. Michael Wolff wrote it. So it's kind of interesting. I'm a fan of Succession. The TV series
Me
was
too,
great.
brother.
So that's what this book, basically, the Murdochs are a lot like Succession with that family. There's something in there that Roger Ailes said when they were launching Fox News. And he said, it's not important enough for conservatives to love us. Liberals have to hate us, which I thought was really interesting because I think it can apply to life, business. If you want to be a successful entrepreneur, if you're in that mushy middle, you're not going to generate love, hate, the emotions that you need to really. So I'm a really big fan. You have the raving fans, and then when you have the trolls of people coming at you, the
You have
raving
to have
fans.
haters. Yeah, you have
Yeah,
to.
that's right. And that's better. And so many coaches are lurking in the mushy middle there. And this doesn't apply just when I say Fox News. You could flip it on the other side and say MSNBC, CNN, stuff like that. And have to have the other side hating them too. May not be really good for healthy discourse in society for the media, but I think for the coaching world, you really do need that. And I'll leave you with one thing because we mentioned Ben Settle earlier. I always remember a story with Ben. He was getting trolled on Twitter by a washed up hip hop artist. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh yeah.
Some guy, yeah. So Ben's now wife is Hispanic, and he was calling Ben and his wife racist or KKK, white supremacist, which didn't make a lot of sense when you think about it. Ben turned into a sale that weekend, and he had the right supremacist sale, WRITE, because of course he's into email copywriting, stuff like that.
Awesome,
and I think
dude.
he made $30,000. You had to use this washed up hip hop guy's name as a promo code or whatever.
Yeah.
And he made $30,000. And then so he's like, I love it. This is great. He took an attack and he turned it into
He
a
flipped
lot
the
of
script.
money.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. And
Yeah.
I thought it was brilliant with it. So that ties into this whole thing that we've been talking about.
Yeah, Roger Ailes is, I believe it's You Are the Message. It's a mandatory read for people because it shows how he's the one that planted in Reagan when he went to Mondale and said that he'll take your inexperience.
Yeah.
I mean, Ailes is a legend. I mean, he's got a bad rap, but he is a legend. And
I'm a big believer, though. Like a lot of people would say, "Oh, well, gee, Roger Ailes is an awful human." Yeah, he did. There's stuff with treating employees, and women bad stuff. I'm not trying to excuse it.
No.
You can still learn from people that you don't agree with. So a lot of people hate Trump, but you could take some stuff in there and learn from Trump, or the flip side. Hillary Clinton, Obama, whatever. I've read books from all sides.
Me too.
But nowadays the issue is people will let their politics override their emotions. They get all emotional and they don't learn from people that they could be learning from, unfortunately. And I try to keep an open mind that way because you can learn from anyone, whether you like them personally or not. There's lessons to learn.
Absolutely. And squad, speaking of legends, I just spoke to one here, and you just got to pick up some just serious knowledge nuggets from my good buddy Marc here, who real estate background really parlayed his skills from real estate right into coaching. And as an entrepreneur, he reminded us that you need to recognize that you aren't an entrepreneur. A job is something that you do. A business is something that you grow, which I talk to my clients about that quite a bit. And just remember that, because 80% of coaches out there, maybe even a little bit more, or even entrepreneurs for that matter, are entrepreneurs. That's what Marc had said. And don't discount yourself. Value the knowledge in your noggin. That's what Marc said. I love that. I'm going to steal it, Marc, and I absolutely love it. He wants you to bring your skills from whatever vocation you had before coaching into your coaching, because a lot of it is going to parlay right into it. And as a coach, consultant, therapist, whatnot, you're there honestly to make money. So it's okay to let your clients know that what you have is valuable and that they should be compensating you. You're going to meet people. You'll find that you're a lot more successful out there, squad, when you're breaking eggs to make omelets. People pleasers don't always make it. You have to have some haters. Don't go out there looking for it. Be true, authentic to yourself, and the haters will just show up. If Marc reminded us, fall 7 times, get up 8, because my guy Marc here is planting trees he's never going to sit in the shade of. He does things for the intention, not the attention, because Marc's not out there. Look at me. He's a very successful dude. I kind of know, but he's not out there saying, look at me, look at me, look at me. You have that black box thinking. Something goes wrong, you fail. Like my favorite player of all time, Barry Sanders, he failed forward. He gained the extra yard. Use that to get better. Okay. And that being successful is living a life of options, not obligations. Getting up and doing what you want, when you want, how you want, and it's absolutely awesome. If you're looking to parlay into something like that, work your 9 to 5 to pay your bills. Work your 5 to 9 to get your life going. All right, squad. And I had so much fun here. Thank you so much, Marc, for coming on. You level up your health, you level up your wealth. You've earned your varsity squad letter here at Time to Shine today. Thank you so much, man. Absolutely love your guts, and I can't wait to collaborate with you, my friend.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Scott.
Appreciate you, brother. Bye now.